Grand jury. A grand jury is not the same as a trial jury. The grand jury and the trial jury serve two completely different functions. In this video, I'll give you a short overview of what the grand jury is and how it differs from a trial jury. Hello folks, I'm Andrew Williams and this is another edition of the Fedora Lawyer. I'm a board-certified criminal defense attorney with 28 years of trial practice behind me. I practice in both federal and state court. On this channel, I share my years of experience with you to give you a better understanding of the law. Now, this video relates to a federal grand jury, but the process is the same in every state in the union. The grand jury only decides if there's probable cause to connect you to a particular crime. For the most part, the grand jury only hears the evidence from the prosecutor's point of view, and they also hear the evidence long before you ever go to trial on the case. Trial jury, on the other hand, hears the evidence in a case from both sides, and the trial jury decides if you're guilty or not. They serve two totally different functions. The grand jury decides if you can be tried at all, and the trial jury decides guilt or innocence. Now, the grand jury is based in the Fifth Amendment. It's a constitutional requirement. That means it's mandatory that before you can ever be tried for a felony, your case must first be presented to the grand jury. No exceptions. Now, the grand jury was originally designed to protect you against government overreach. This way, the government can't come and force you to go to trial unless the grand jury first approves it. Grand jury is a group of people who are tasked with reviewing charges against you. If the grand jury determines there's probable cause, you get indicted and the grand jury returns a true bill. If the grand jury turns down the case, it's called a no bill, and the government cannot continue to prosecute you. In other words, the prosecution just stops dead in its tracks. Now, in the federal system, a grand jury is made up of anywhere from 16 to 23 members appointed to review cases. Grand jury is randomly selected from people who are citizens living in the district where the cases would arise. There must always be at least 16 members present to review cases, and before you can be indicted, at least 12 of those 16 have to vote yes. Now, the grand jury generally only hears the government's version of the facts. Prosecutor presents evidence to the grand jurors. He can even subpoena witnesses to testify. And once the witnesses have testified and all the evidence has been presented to the grand jury, the grand jurors then convene to vote on the case. Now, sometimes your lawyer will know in advance when the grand jury convenes, and your lawyer can present what they call a grand jury packet with information that's helpful to you. When that happens, the grand jury can review your evidence along with the evidence of the prosecutor. You can even testify before the grand jury if you want. However, it's very dangerous to do that. But sometimes it's a wise gamble to prevent the grand jury from indicting you. It's dangerous in the sense that your lawyer can't be in the grand jury room with you when you testify. He would have to wait outside. Needless to say, you don't ever want to do that without a lawyer's advice. Now, after hearing all the evidence, the grand jury votes. And when they vote, only the grand jurors are allowed in the grand jury room. Not the prosecutor, not a court reporter, not a judge, not anybody, just the grand jurors. The grand jury's choice is whether to indict you or not indict you. They indict you with a true bill. If they don't indict you, it's called a no bill. All right, well, that's basically how the grand jury works. They don't determine guilt or innocence. They just determine if there's some evidence or probable cause to connect you to a crime. And that's very different from a trial jury. Trial jury hears all the evidence from both sides and then decides if you're guilty or not. So that's the difference between a grand jury and a trial jury. Now, I hope this cleared up some misconceptions for you. Hopefully it did. If this video was helpful, hit the like button for me. I plan on making lots more videos in the future on all sorts of legal topics. You can even start with these two videos if you like. For now, this is a Fedora Lawyer signing off.